Here I am taking my French Battleship Alsace into a domination game on the map loop. And this was a game that was extremely fun for me to play. Actually had, I believe it was 61 torpedoes fired at me with 4 or 5 hits, if I remember right. And it's just an example of how you can kind of use the French battleships and a little more aggressive than some of the other ones because of their speed. Kind of gives you the chance to get into positions a little bit sooner. But in the beginning here, I'm just doing a typical battleship thing where I'm kind of moving into position I want to get into. I want to contest C. We have a gearing out front, which is very good because on the enemy team, we're looking at a Shimakaze, a Habarovsk, a Fletcher, and a Z-46. Although I'm not too worried about the Habarovsk, but here in the beginning, he makes it easy for our team anyway. And having the gearing out front the way it is, heading towards C-cap, should make it fairly safe for the ships that are moving into C-cap. Except as you'll see right there, the Habarovsk is spotted by the gearing because I don't know what this Habarovsk is doing. But what really gets this going is it turns out that the firepower that we end up facing over here at C, and just turning that kind of against the enemy team a little bit and taking advantage of some passive play that they were exhibiting. So right here, the Habarovsk, he's pretty screwed right now. He's got a gearing on him. He's engaged in a gunfight, but he's got 4 more supporting ships firing at him, although some of them are not hitting too much. And I'm just kind of holding my fire right here because it obviously looks like he was going to ground himself, which he did, and that's when I waited to go ahead and pull the trigger on the Habarovsk. But as you see on the mini map right now, we have a Yamato that showed up, and also here the Lion heading in this direction, and a Missouri. So now that I know I'm going to have 3 battleships to deal with, although the Lion really doesn't pose too much of a threat, but the Missouri and the Yamato definitely pose a threat. And we already took down one of the destroyers, although the Habarovsk is a very good destroyer. It's not much of a cap pressure destroyer. But as you can see, C-cap is still being contested, so there's obviously another enemy destroyer that is not visible yet. And I am detected, obviously, been firing my guns. But what's going on here is the Missouri, Yamato, and Lion are not shooting at me. They're shooting at the Iowa, who I just passed, who, for whatever reason, was sailing not completely broadside to this Yamato and Missouri up here, but pretty much giving them best target. So I went ahead and popped my speed boost, and my whole point now is to try to close the distance on this destroyer who just fired its first set of torpedoes at me, and get this island between me and most of those enemy ships up there. And there we see it, the Z-46, my secondaries. Put a few shots in his direction, but he smokes up, and I'm still detected, obviously, because battleship. So I know I've seen 1 set of torpedoes come out. I'm fully expecting another set. And I'm worried about this Hindenburg also, because, you know, Hindenburg AP is pretty strong. He can do a lot of damage. So I'm trying to stay angled to that Hindenburg, while at the same time trying to present a small, hard target for the destroyer. And right now, no, I don't have to worry about the battleships, specifically the Yamato, because the island is now in his way and he can't get shots off on me. But I'm just trying to close the distance on this smoke screen that the 46 left in hopes of kind of pushing him out of the cap circle. And it's obvious when that happened when we started taking this cap. And myself being a destroyer main, kind of have a feel for the timing between torpedo launches and kind of what they want to do. As you can see right there, that was all pretty much just instinct on that turn. Wait any longer, I'm going to catch 1 or 2 torpedoes. If I don't turn it on, probably that's the end of my game. Although the Missouri comes around and sticks his nose around the corner a little bit, I'm honestly not really concerned with the Missouri right now. I'm more concerned with dealing with that destroyer. And I know I have about a minute, actually less than a minute now, before I can expect more torpedoes, depending on how far away the 46 got to. So the Missouri right here, I dirt my first shot at him. I don't know why I was aiming at the bow at that kind of angle, but here I go ahead and select the proper target, shoot him in the superstructure, and get an 11K damaging hit. But the Missouri already had begun slowing down in an attempt to back up, as I have a lot of backup, but they're pretty far away from me. The gearing is on the opposite side of the cap as I am. I'm not even in the cap anymore. I have a Bismarck, a Hindenburg, and a Charles Martel up there to the north of me. but obviously this Missouri is focusing me, but I'm keeping myself fairly well angled to him and just trying to mitigate the damage he's doing. But like I said, I am not worried about the Missouri as much as I am what that Z46 is doing. So I'm already right now expecting torpedoes again. So I'm trying to move forward in unpredictable speed to try to throw off his torpedoes. So there goes the fourth set launched at me. I know he's got another set in reserve. And right now I'm thinking, okay, if he's doing what I tend to do, launch a set where I think the ship is at and then predict where that ship is going to go, I fully expect the next set of torpedoes there, right in front of me. So now I know I got another minute or so of time to decide what I'm going to do. But this Hindenburg is coming out again. And this time I'm a little more worried about the Hindenburg than I was last time. I know I have some maneuvering time, so I decided I'm going to back up here, but as you'll see that I don't really give myself enough room that I wanted to, and I back right into the island, which was a misplay on my part, but luckily I got away with it. So the Hindenburg comes out. I'm not really sure why the Hindenburg did this, because no matter what he does, if he doesn't turn, he leaves a broadside to me. If he does turn, he's going to give broadside to all my teammates that are a little bit north of me. Well, except not our friendly Hindenburg. He's kind of behind the island a little bit. So there he goes. He's turning out, you know, just kind of leading him, aiming a little high up on the waterline, kind of compensating for the turn. Don't really do a whole lot of damage on salvo. And there you go. I didn't give myself the space that I wanted to, and backed myself right into the island. And then this Hindenburg is also firing AP at me still at this angle, which he should have switched to HE. I know German AP is really good, but at this point that's HE situation. And backing in the island screwed me up, because there you go. I take 2 torpedoes. And I have flooding. I do not repair it on purpose because I wanted to make sure the Hindenburg died, because I didn't want to repair it and then risk being set back on fire again. I figured I had the heel up, and I'd be fairly capable of stopping the flooding, and I don't have to worry about these battleships, because I can already tell that they're really passive and they're not going to press into me around this island. And there goes the next set of torpedoes as I was already moving forward. And right here you'll notice that I hit the engine boost, and I did this for 2 specific reasons. One, I know it's going to throw the indicator off on the destroyer, because it's going to the lead indicator is going to start going, and I wanted to hurry up and intentionally ground my ship to not come out in front of that Yamato broadside, to hurry up and get into reverse. With the engine boost on, this maneuver right here probably took half as much time as it normally would have. And as you'll see here in a little bit, that little maneuver and throwing the lead indicator off for that Z46 threw off the second set of torpedoes that are going to be coming in and hitting the island about where I would have been if I had continued to go forward. And there they go. Now the Lion is doing what this Missouri and Yamato should have been doing already, and that's coming around the island. Same time, they could have rushed me, they would have put me down, and then the Hindenburg would have been out here all by itself, and they would have took the advantage. But instead they waited and waited and waited until they lost the initiative. And then the Lion I get 1 salvo on the Lion, and the Lion goes down. Now, to be honest with you, my positioning in this game is not the best. And this Bismarck over here, I don't know what he was thinking. Completely forgot there was a destroyer over there, and he pays for it with his ship. That's losing situational awareness right there. But like I was saying, this positioning for me is not the best. It's kind of a borderline misplay of whether it's good or bad. I know that I was able to keep these ships from coming around and taking Sea Point, but I would have been in a hard to defend location if they would have decided to just come around all at one time and only had me to deal with. They could have kept their ships angled against most of my teammates and only had to deal with me. I would only be able to get off 1 or 2 salvos before I would have been wrecked. But instead they decided to play passive. If you see the Missouri continue to back up, the Yamato was in a position where he really can't shoot at anything. But I know I'm still worried about that destroyer, because obviously I'm targeted right now, and I fully expect it to be that Z46, and I know his torpedoes are going to be ready to go here pretty soon. And there's the Z46 pops up. I already started to turn. I don't know if he really anticipated this. Had my guns ready, got a 4700 hit on him, and right here I fully expect to have torpedoes coming in on my location as we speak, which is why I continue this hard turn, trying to present myself as the skinniest target as possible. And also it looks like the Yamato is going to go ahead and finally do what he should have did about 3 minutes ago, and that's press his advantage. And right there, that quick shot, I was trying to hit that cheek spot under the front turret to try to get that citadel, but I should have known better. He was already turning, and by the time my shells got there, the angle was too steep and they just bounced. And then the Fletcher that was over by ACAP completely repositioned, threw me off. Wasn't prepared for this. This is me losing some situational awareness. Granted, my teammates took him out, but now I have 2 sets of torpedoes inbound, and I have a little bit of a driving error here. As you can see right here, if I would have kept in the turn a little bit longer, I would have been able to slip into that large gap that you see that I'm passing by right now. And now I know this, and now I'm just going to say, okay, I need to make sure I only take one of these torpedoes, which is the one right here. I'm going to take on the stern of the ship, instantly repair it. I start turning hard to port because I want to bring my guns back to bear on the Yamato, because this Rockstar Hindenburg over here on my team, who I gave a good job to, and I complimented him in the game, has really been performing pretty well, maneuvering very good, and forces the Yamato to turn into him because, of course, you know he has torpedoes, which is giving me a clean broadside. I'm holding my fire, aim for that soft cheek spot, and there goes the citadel, 20,000 damage. Although the Hindenburg probably would have killed the Yamato without my help. But pure feeds, you got a good game for me, because pretty much a lot of the things I was able to pull off was because of that player's cover. Z46 shows up again. These are misplays by the Z46, by the way. Shouldn't allow himself to be getting spotted. I take a quick snapshot, don't really lead him long enough, and I see that he sent torpedoes at the Hindenburg. Obviously, it's a closer threat, and it's a cruiser, so the cruiser to the destroyer is probably more dangerous than the battleship. Although the French battleships are kind of just battle cruisers, almost not quite as dangerous, but pretty dangerous to destroyers. And now you see the Amagi finally coming around to try to get into the fight. Now this is way late, should have happened a long time ago, but he repositioned from the center of the map, and now the Hindenburg has got himself at angle toward him. I'm got myself angled toward him, but the destroyer is still out there. So right here, I hit speed boost. I expected the destroyer's torpedoes to be back up off a cooldown again, and right now I'm just trying to throw off the lead indicator for a launch, which I expected to be in the water 10 to 15 seconds ago. There it is. Hindenburg's obviously got his hydroacoustic running. I got my engine boost on. I'm in a straight line. I'm not going to maneuver to bleed any speed, because all I need to do, I need to outrun this torpedo launch. This is kind of not a good idea, as I'm giving myself full broadside to this Amagi, but right now I know that the torpedoes are more dangerous to me than that Amagi is, so I'm going to go ahead and risk it. And the Missouri, again, kind of playing passive. I'm not exactly sure why the Missouri's doing that. He's going to be fighting 2 cruisers. You know, that's an arguable point. The Z46 is heading back south. You can tell by the way that the smoke screen is expanding toward the Amagi. I think I'm taking fire from, I might be the Des Moines over there by B Point. I'm not quite sure. Right now, I fully expect the second set of torpedoes to be in the water. I kind of angle my ship a little bit toward the B point area because I don't want to take some AP pens, because my health is less than half, and there's the second set of torpedoes. But with engine boost on, not even a threat. Missouri go ahead and pops his radar. I'm not exactly sure why he popped his radar. He knows where I'm at. He knows where the 2 cruisers are at. I guess maybe he's just trying to spot the destroyer, but the destroyer, the Yugumo, should be out of range of that radar for where he's at right now. And being targeted by one ship, I fully expect that to be the destroyer. And based off of how that smoke screen was expanding, I know I have a pretty good idea is heading south. And again, this is an anti-destroyer tactic for me, kind of how I would do this in a destroyer. I'm going to try to hug this island a little bit with the full intention of making a hard turn to the starboard to try to give as little bit of a time for the destroyer to get the torpedoes off with a bad angle. And coming up soon, I'm going to finally get my my revenge on the destroyer, who I was playing cat and mouse with pretty much the whole game. I'm spotted. I know it's the destroyer. I fully expect torpedoes to be in the water. I was thinking maybe they were already in the water. Kind of a misplay a little bit right here, but not too bad, because my health is high enough where I know I can probably take one single torpedo if I need to. And I got my secondaries going on, so you don't see that in the replay. Those replay bugs. I turned hard to port, expecting the torpedoes to be out lead in front of me, but they're a little bit closer than they were, so I just continue to turn in an attempt to only take one of them, although it's going to be guaranteed flooding because it's on the nose. There goes the other set, complete miss. Now the Z46 has to pop his smoke, and boom, there goes my revenge. Again, not a very spectacular, flashy game, but it was definitely a fun game. And this is an example of kind of like the enemy team should have probably just pressed the advantage at sea when they had it. They kind of 1, 2s, and 3s and piecemealed into there and kind of gave it back to us. It was a very fun game in Alsace. I'm having a lot of fun with this ship. And I just don't know how people can go wrong playing these ships. A little bit more aggressive than normal because of their speed. And this is going to be a win. I'm not going to get any shots off of this Namagi. Tier 9 French battleship Alsace. Lots of fun.